We're fascinated by the back and forth with Dan Shaughnessy of the Boston Globe and Bill Belichick. And Dan went into battle, and he was looking for an answer, or at least maybe he thought he could get an answer with Bill Belichick on that question that still remains unanswered. Why was Malcolm Butler benched during the Super Bowl? Here's a little bit of that exchange.
Bill, I know you're all about this year, and we all understand that about this year.
That's right.
And I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't ask about last year.
Yeah,
and
last year's last year. I'm not focused on last year, yeah.
What about the fact that everywhere we go, folks want to ask about Malcolm Butler? I mean, sports coaches, players, university. You're a sports fan.
Yeah, we've talked about that. That's multiple months ago.
Is there going to be any more explanation about why he didn't play?
Focused on training camp.
Would you do it any differently?
Training camp? Well, we're getting started. We're working on that right now. We'll do it the best we can.
And does it matter to you? Do you care that the fans want to know more about this?
I'm focused on doing the best that I can for the 2018 New England Patriots. That's my job. That's what I'm going to do. That's what I've always done in the past. You know, every day that I've coached here, I've done the best that I could for this football team, and I'll continue to do that. And right now, my focus is on the 2018 season, not 2017, not 2014, not 2007, not 2004, not 2001, not 2000. I'm not focused on any of those seasons. They're done.
And for this season, for this season's team, is it important for you to address the Malcolm Butler thing with your team?
It's important for me to have a good season in 2018. I'm going to do everything I can to do that. Do the best that I can for our football team. That's my job, and that's my responsibility. That's what I'm going to try to do. Hopefully you can respect that, but maybe not.
Bill Belichick and Dan Shaughnessy of the Boston Globe, and Dan joins us now. Dan, good morning. What was your strategy going into that exchange with Coach Belichick?
Well, I had talked to his consigliere a day or two before, and attempting to get a one-on-one, and you know, I knew that was a reach, but I just gave it a shot because I have a pretty good relationship through the years, and I have a lot of respect for Bill and what they do down there. I just, you know, because it would be preferable to try to do this in a one-on-one and not in front of everybody. And as I said, if you want to, if there's places he doesn't want to go, we don't have to go there. But anyway, that didn't happen. There was a very respectful decline of the invite, and so I think to that degree, Bill probably knew something was coming. And I understand the beat guys get beaten down there, and just, you know, the reluctance to answer anything. But this is Dan Patrick. I'm telling you, this comes up everywhere I go. That's legit.
Yeah.
I talked to Troy Brown last night. You know, 1,000 years in the league, part of this whole Patriot magic ride, and he said the same thing. He said, everywhere I go, that's all people want to ask me. And he said, I know the players. It's part of their lives. So yeah, I think it's a fair game. First day back, you know, opening camp, and here we go. And I knew, to that end, I knew he was going to stonewall, and the fallback is often, we're just talking about now and what's ahead. And so I tried to, well, in that point, what about this year's team?
Yeah.
Is it something you need to address with this year's team? Let's make it about now and do that. And do you care that the fans are not satisfied with this? Does that matter to you? So anyway, again, it's not a party started down there. I understand that. I was really pleased that Bill allowed follow-ups, because that's a lot of follow-up for any session with him. Generally, you get your knees capped off, and that's the end of it. So I thought that was I respected that, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, I thought the follow-up, that's where it turned a little bit and at least made him pause, because if you're a current Patriot player, I would still want to know, like, what did he do? Yeah. That cost us perhaps a Super Bowl. We had a bad secondary. We made it even worse. Like, there's no explanation. Like, this is pretty amazing that it's been this quiet, that, you know, neither side has said much about this.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I mean, you know, this is a guy who obviously he won the Super Bowl in the Seattle game 3 years ago, and with a great play at the end. And he was an all-pro cornerback, and he played in 98% of the snaps this year. He didn't come off the field against Jacksonville 2 weeks earlier, and now he's not playing. And it was just, and you know, they can't get the Eagles off the field. They lose a game in which they don't punt. They put together 600 yards of offense. The quarterback throws for 505. And they still lose because, you know, Batamosi's out there arm tackling in the second half. Malcolm Butler, even when he's not playing his best game, he tackles. And it was just, it was curious. And it didn't look like they were putting their best foot forward. And, you know, all these things came out early on, weed and concerts and curfews and illnesses and, interfering with the elections and just, they tried everything. And Butler said none of that stuff's true. And he was backed up by teammates on social media, including Gronkowski, Hightower, and Brady.
Have you heard anything off the record or just whispered or,
Oh, there's always, he got in a fight with Steve Belichick, who's Bill's son, who's the D-backs coach. And, it goes on. There's a million things. He emptied out his locker. He wouldn't go for the contract offer that they had. Bill said we'll win without him and then kind of got locked into it. I don't know.
Has Malcolm said anything?
A little bit. I mean, and he's been very respectful. But it's weird too, Dan. I mean, he was courted by Matt Patricia like hours after the game ended. The Lions are trying to get him, and then Vrabel, another part of the group here, does get him, and it was very quickly in the signing period, like 3 days or less, and he got well paid by expatriate guys going for his services. So that's curious too. Yeah, it's a head scratcher.
What's it like going toe to toe when everybody is there, watching the exchange with you and Belichick?
Well, it's like Belichick. You got to be prepared, and I've learned that from Bill and Red Auerbach and all my journalistic forefathers. Just be prepared because you kind of all these years you sort of know he's not going to love this. But I tried to appeal to him as a sports fan. You're a fan. I know he loves baseball and he goes to Celtic games and he gets it. He's wondering about LeBron James. So just as that, let's just try to just go that route. And I tried to appeal like I'm doing my job. That was not an accidental, notion that I was tucking in there. That's what I'm doing. And he professes do your job. So that's what I'm doing. And I thought he was extremely, for something he hates to talk about and doesn't want to go to, I thought he was extremely polite and professional about it.
Have you asked Brady about what he thinks of not knowing?
I have not. I think there's some, there's all those, it's like reading hieroglyphics and hints and stuff. There's been some stuff in Tom versus Time and maybe with the Jim Gray interview where I think Troy told me that Tom at one point says that Malcolm's talking to him on the sideline and Tom's like, wait a minute, why aren't you in the game? And he's and I think that that they were like, are we really having our best team out here? And especially when you can't get those guys off the field. Dan, they didn't punt and they lost the Super Bowl. It's impossible.
If I said you could have all of the answers to any of the Patriot controversies, so you could have the Butler benching, why was Garoppolo traded, Deflategate, other, you got to pick which one.
These are the nuclear codes, man. That's, I don't know.
You got to pick one.
Yeah, I'd probably go with the really inner story on Jimmy G.
Yeah.
Just because I think that's got the owner involved. It might have Brady involved. I think Bill identified the next guy, had pride of authorship, cultivated him, was ready, and Tom outlived the plan, and they couldn't have an organic transfer, and they couldn't franchise him, and the owner favoring the Brady, and oh my God, I think that one's got more layers.
It was good stuff. I hope you had fun going against Belichick. Do you feel like you're an opposing coach going against him? Like you said, you really have to prepare when you go, okay, if I ask this is probably where he's going. I don't know. Do you rehearse this at home?
I had like 5 things written down. I knew where I wanted to go, and I was allowed to do that, and I appreciate that. So I was ready. Yes, but yeah, it's like it's one shot, man. You don't want to screw it up.
Thank you, Dan. We appreciate your time as always.
Take care, Dan.
That's Dan Shaughnessy, Boston Globe columnist.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.